everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, aspiring author Jonathan Taylor. As I've mentioned in my social media, links in the description below, I'm currently reading through the Witcher books by Andrzej Sapkowski, and in this video, as well as several others both before and after it, I'm going to be giving my reviews and impressions of each book from this anthology, collection, series, whatever you want to call it. Today it is the turn of Time of Contempt. If this book were to have a subtitle, it would be Shit Hits the Fan, because that is exactly what happens here. All of the elements, plot elements, and world building that came up in Blood of Elves gets expanded upon in this book, and then finally utilized, paid off within this book's plot. So what is the plot of this book about? Well, it continues from Blood of Elves, with Ciri continuing her education, and the adults in her life still trying to keep her identity and her backstory a secret. These adults, however, have other responsibilities as well, and it is from within these other responsibilities that the plot really kicks into high gear. To be more precise, Yennefer, who has been Ciri's guardian for a long time, now has to attend a mage conference, and given mages in this world are advisors to royalty, you have a lot of egos and a lot of connected people in close proximity. And one very intrepid sorcerer decides to use this opportunity to stage a coup and eliminate all his potential enemies. How successful he is with that, I won't exactly say. I will, however, say that at the same time, the Nilfgaardian Empire, as in the people who conquered Ciri's kingdom, are launching an assault onto other kingdoms within the setting. I won't go into the ensuing war, because the book itself also doesn't really. It only mentions a few key moments, and mostly focuses on the consequences of this war. You know, people being displaced, the rule of law breaking down, gangs of highwaymen and brigands coming up, violence begetting violence, that kind of thing. And a lot of it is very spoilerific, so that's why you're only getting these hints. The book goes a bit further into detail, but I won't. And in many ways, this book is the everything changed moment, with the protagonist and their allies being either dead, scattered throughout the world, or just plain missing. The villains now so much in control that they only have each other to be threatened by, and the stakes of the story now being higher than ever. Sadly, not every element of the story really works to fuel this escalation. And funnily enough, a lot of what makes this escalation fail, and a lot of what makes this book not as compelling as it could have been, isn't really from anything that is added, but from the things that were already there and were to some extent beneath my notice so far. The first one of these is fight scenes. Don't get me wrong, Sapkowski in general is pretty good when it comes to writing fight scenes, assuming they are between two people. If it's a one-on-one fight, he is very good at describing what these people are trying to do and how much their actions impact each other. But as soon as more parties get involved, it starts becoming confusing as hell, even when it is not supposed to be confusing or chaotic. Actions do get described, but they always come across as directionless or aimless, and therefore the whole scene itself loses coherence and loses its impact. Unfortunately, that also comes across in this book, and it severely hampers two of its most dramatic moments. First of all, the attack at the conference. Okay, maybe not severely, but still, it harms it, and also a gang fight that occurs later in the book, one in which Ciri is also involved. The other problem Sapkowski tends to generally have is with descriptions. By that I mean his imprecision kind of adds up. If he has to describe a tough word. If he has to describe a singular location, like say a market, you can almost smell everything that's on display and available for purchase. But describing larger settlements is pretty much an exercise in luck. You either get a pretty coherent and well put together description of how whatever place he's describing is supposed to look like, or you get a confusing jumbled mess where it takes minutes to write between places you are made to believe are actually right next to each other. That being said, he has also improved in some ways, particularly in his asides, especially the ones that don't involve the main characters. He has become much better at utilizing them to establish the stakes, to build the tension, and also to characterize his villains. Also, we now know who the villains of the larger narrative are. We understand what they are like to some extent, at least, and what their goals are. Also, Sapkowski's incidental storytelling has improved within this novel. You get a better idea of what the life of average people within this setting are, and therefore what makes our protagonists different from average people. And it sort of justifies them being as these noteworthy legendary figures quasi-legendary figures that they sometimes get treated over the course of the book. If I were to give my overall impressions, I would say that a lot of what makes Sapkowski a good writer, a lot of his strengths, his dialogue and acerbic wit, his excellent knack for characterization, his ability to weave world building and storytelling, his ability to showcase differing perspectives, as well as his mastery of tension through plotting, are all still here. However, he still is still imprecise in areas where he really shouldn't be, and that really affect the way his story is conveyed, which minimize the impact he is going for. And for that reason, Time of Contempt gets a 4 out of 5. This is the third 4 out of 5 in this entire series. I'm still holding out hope for the first 5 out of 5. And maybe next time, I'll luck out with Baptism of Fire. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling kind of embarrassed that I just now noticed the trend when it comes to titles. For now, however, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed this video, then I suggest you go ahead and leave a like. If you have anything you'd like to add, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when the next video comes out, then I suggest you go ahead and subscribe. Maybe also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.